just did a search in the top for the keyword innovation. And then when the search results came back, I clicked on people. And now I'm going to go into all filters. And keep in mind, I'm using the basic version of LinkedIn to do this search. I'm not using premium or anything. Everybody has access to this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to keep on maybe first or second level connections. And then I need to move this guy out of my way, the video thing. And then I'm going to look at school and I'm going to type in Rider University. And then I'm going to click on show results. And LinkedIn is automatically, that's the word, automatically going to repopulate the list. And it's going to say, hey, there are 60 people that match this criteria, either being a first or a second level connection, who also attended Rider University and who have the word innovation someplace on their profile. So now you can start looking through these folks and figure out, you know, who else might be a good connection for me to have. And let's just say I see Colleen. What I do is I right click on their name and then I open it in a new window. And then I might do it for Jennifer too, open it in a new window and then go on their profile, you know, kind of look around for half a minute or a minute or so, just kind of figure out things that you might have in common. And is this a person that you want to connect with? And then you would send her a connection request. And when you click on the connect, you're going to click on add a note. And I'm not going to send this to her right now, but it'd be something like this. Hi, Colleen. We haven't met yet, but I see that we both attended Rider University and we share several common connections in the New York, New Jersey area. Let's connect on LinkedIn, Bob Callison. That's it. You send it off. And then I'm opening Jennifer's window's already open. So I do the same thing for Jennifer. I click on connect, I click on add a note. Hi, Jennifer, we haven't met, but you know, same spiel basically. Let's connect on LinkedIn, Bob Callison. You send it off. Now, a couple of these people will reply or will accept. Not everybody will, but a couple of them will. And when they do accept, you'll get a little notification that says Jennifer McGovern accepted your invitation. So then you'll message her back and you'll say, thanks, Jennifer, for accepting my invitation. I see that you work in the area of innovation and I'm looking to move more into that field. Was wondering if you might be open to a quick chat sometime. I'm not asking for a job, just wanted to ask about your path to get there. You know, and then at that point, you know, see where the conversation goes and, you know, maybe she can give you some tips or some different directions to point into. Does that help?
It does, but it kind of reveals another problem in that innovation in itself gets, it's a term that gets abused. Mm-hmm. It's like if you search for job listings for innovation, 9 out of 10 are marketing roles or the project management roles. And it's really difficult to understand how to find the people that are actually in the realm of organization, productivity, and you know, I got to play with the terms to figure out what generates the results.
Well, and part of this might be doing some of those outreach to people and say, I see that you have the job title innovation strategist, you know, and I was wondering if you might be able to jump on the phone sometime. I just really want to learn a little bit more about what that role involves because I'm thinking about making a career pivot right now. And I, when in that outreach, I would always tell people, I'm not asking for a job. I just wanted to ask a little bit more about your role. You know?
Right. Yeah.
So it's just getting to know you. It's almost like, you know, informational interviews is really what you're doing. You're just trying to get information. You're not asking for a job. But as you're going through this process of trying to learn where you want to go next, that might be, you know, making the connections with those people. And then you never know where the future may lead. Right.
Yes. And thank you. I just quick follow-up question though. Like I said, I'm currently doing something that's more aligned with what I've always done. And how should I reflect that? Because I'm working as a consultant on a 12-month contract, and I don't want it to look like this is what I'm looking for. But at the same time, I don't know if I should just ignore that altogether and not list it at all.
So is the current position you're in principal, is it your own company?
No, that's me, yeah.
This one right here, Innovation Associate?
No, that was my last innovation role. I haven't listed what I'm doing right now because I haven't figured out how to reflect it in LinkedIn. So I'm working
what is
as
this
a consultant through an agency. It's essentially a glorified temp, but you know, I'm grateful for it and I'm happy to do it, but I'm not sure how I should reflect it here. It's not currently in my experience.
Okay, so I'm a marketer, so I spent many, many years taking what the sales team would give us or another department, operations or something else, and I would fluff it up and make it the best version of itself possible. And I would package it and give it back. And there was one job description I had, it would say, she can make presentations sing, you know, like sing, like that makes something. So LinkedIn is a marketing tool for you. and for your personal brand. You're developing yourself. So here's what I want to share with you right away. When I land on your profile, Bob, I see storyteller, innovation facilitator. Wow, that Bob guy sounds amazing, right? So you gotta create and craft your own story. You've got an idea generator. I mean, you've got a lot of really interesting things that are in here. I want to see that story come out. I mean, first thing first, you need to get a header image in the background, my friend.
Yeah.
So easiest way of doing that, go to a site like pexels.com, and these are free commercial stock photography. And I'm just going to type in innovation, and I'm going to see, just scroll through if there's something, wow, these gears, these are colorful, this is kind of cool. Grab that. That is better than that. It's kind of like a let me see if I can get back to the homepage again. It's almost like a landscape that's flipped on its side, like a grayish, greenish, kind of blah, nothing. I mean, that colorful gears is better. If you don't like that, then pick something else, or pick the word create, or, you can go back and search for ideas or design. You can find something. I mean, that yellow thing with the black contrast, just something, put something in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's like step number one. And I've heard some people describe the top of your LinkedIn profile similarly to a cupcake. So think about when you go to a bakery and they're all laid out, right? And we're wearing a mask because we're socially distanced and being safe, of course, but we're wearing our mask and we're looking over at the cupcakes, and nobody's going to buy the burned cupcake that's like broken in half without frosting on it. Or that hasn't been frosted yet. You want to buy the cupcake that's got the frosting and the strawberry drizzle and the sprinkles on top and all the cool. And they're like, yeah, and then it's cheesecake stuffing in the middle, whatever. That's the cupcake that you want to buy. So we don't want to put our empty cupcakes, without the filling at the top. We want to have a really nice top to your profile, because that's going to keep people reading down. And what I want to see is that what you put in that image is supported by your headline. So if you're telling me you're a storyteller, innovation facilitator, idea generator, and I see like a blank template in the background, I'm like, is he really though? So you got to get that fixed. Like, can you get that fixed before I leave the call tonight? You got 20 minutes. You could do that, right?
Sure. Why not?
I'm giving you literally no choice.
Okay.
So I know that Alexandra also wanted to have her profile looked at. Alexandra Pantaziz.
All right, Bob. Thank you. We're going to move on if that's okay.
Absolutely.
All right, Alexandra, can you unmute yourself?
Can you hear me?
We can. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm just trying to pull up your name here so I can pull up your profile. Okay. Alexandra how do you pronounce your last name?
Pantazis.
Fantastic. And for both Alexandra and Bob, I'm going to give you guys a little bonus tip too. LinkedIn has a name pronunciation field. And if you frequently have people say, how do you pronounce that? You want to use that feature. Okay. And it's something you have to do on the mobile app. So you have to go on your phone on the LinkedIn app, and there's a little voice name pronunciation field. And I've got one on mine. Kenneth, do you have one on yours?
I do, yes.
Okay. So my name's not that difficult to pronounce. Every once in a while I get a Miller or a Mueller, but I still use the field, and I'm not going to play right now, but look at mine as an example. But if anybody on the call has a name where people are frequently saying, did I pronounce that correctly? Did I say that right? That's your cue that you need to use that name pronunciation on your profile. All right. So Alexandra, did you have a specific question, or are you just looking for general feedback, or?
General feedback would be great.
Okay. Are you working right now?
I doing very small contract jobs, nothing major.
Are you looking for a job?
Yes, I'm looking for a full-time role.
So you have Viton Career Coaching. Do you work with Vincent?
I'm part of the community.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's at the top of your profile. All right. So some general, like my immediate reaction is this. We've got a heading or a header image in the background. It's blurry, and it's kind of giving me, it's almost like, is my vision blurred, or is it the on-screen image of it? It's like, it's probably a lower resolution version of that image. It looks like you created a Wordle perhaps on there.
The word art. Yes.
Yeah, I would improve that. I mean, especially if what you work in is digital marketing, I don't want to hire somebody that does my digital marketing that has a blurry background. That's my first reaction. Okay. And I like that there's a lot of keywords and things that are in there, but if the delivery of that is creating an impression of me that's not matching the quality of the work that you could deliver, it's could be hindering your chances there.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
The next thing is the headshot photo. And I've seen people put this ring around their headshot photo before. I'm personally not a fan of it because it's a small space on there. I would also recommend that I usually tell people that your face from basically the top of your forehead to the bottom of your chin, that should be about 50 to 60% of the circle. And most of the time I have to tell people to zoom in, but yours is going to be one that I would say you might want to just zoom back out a little bit.
Okay.
Just add a little bit more air in there. It's feeling very tight. And I just think about what I look for in a headshot photo is pleasant, smiling, professional looking, good lighting. It's current, it looks like you, and that's really important because we do so many of these Zoom calls nowadays. And good lit. And if you have access to a professional photographer, great. But if not, like just put your camera across the room, make sure it's brightly lit, and you're just getting a little glimpse of your attire. So you don't need to be dressed from head to toe. But make sure hair and makeup are done, all that other good stuff too, because it does create a strong first impression of you. So those are the two things that are immediately jumping at me. Your name in all caps, and I know that you might be doing that to differentiate yourself. I'm not a fan of the name in all caps. Kenneth, what are your thoughts on that?
Not really either. I think, some people do that in large part because they want to do like Andy has a space between the names and things for the bots. But again, I think it kind of rubs me the wrong way. It's like, why do you have to be in caps?
Yeah. And Andy does this for a living, and those of us in the community take some liberties, and Andy doesn't like the fact that I have a pie emoji on my profile. So
I know.
to each his own. You gotta your own. You gotta figure out what works best for you. But when I see all caps, it feels to me like you're shouting.
Yes.
True.
So how do you feel about emojis in the title like that?
I'm sorry, say that again, Ken.
How do you feel about having an emoji within the title?
I don't mind. I just think about emojis are like salt that you put in your soup. You don't want to have too much, because then it gets too salty and then it's not very good tasting. And then I think you also want to think about using an emoji that is appropriate for the professional brand you're trying to create for yourself. And some of you on this call might be like, why does this lady have a pie? Is it a cupcake or what? It's a pie. And part of the reason I have that, I used to have a coffee cup up until about a month ago. And back in the pre-COVID days when I would do presentations, I would talk about myself, and I would always end my quick intro and I would say, in addition to my job and my family, I love coffee, chocolate, and pie. And coffee is kind of the universal business drink, so that worked because it's a professional networking site. Chocolate, a lot of people like that. It's just a fun thing. And then pie was one of these things that's kind of differentiating myself. And I would give a pie away when I would do presentations. And then I would talk about how pie is similar to marketing and analogies. And then when I wrote my LinkedIn strategy book, I called it social media pie. So now it's like, oh, when you land on my profile, you're like, oh, okay, that's why the pie is there. So it's part of my professional brand on there. But emojis aren't for everybody. If you do want to use them, there's a site I recommend. It's called Emojipedia. And you can just go in here and you can type in pie and it'll pull up that emoji. And from desktop, you can just copy it and then go into your profile and paste it. Or if you want instead, you could actually just go into your name field. I'm just going to show you how to do this right now. I just learned this new trick like very recently. Kenneth, I don't know if you know this. On my keyboard, I hit the Windows key and then the period at the same time, and it pulls up an Emoji Keyboard.
Really?
Yeah, cool. So this is like game changing. Like now I don't need to go into my phone and do this stuff. And then you can just start to type in whatever that word is that you're looking for. Like, let's say I wanted to do puzzle, and then it'll access that from the Emoji Keyboard. I think you want to be careful. I saw one person's profile that they had like 29 emojis in their headline field, and that was just feeling spammy, for me. But
the other thing that comes up a lot is in the about section. How can you change the text? So sometimes it's bold or sometimes it's italic because you don't really have that ability.
I'm not a fan of that because what they're actually doing is they're using another website that is creating, it's almost a digitized version of the text. But my understanding is that the LinkedIn algorithm, when it scans through, it reads that bolded text as a picture. So the keywords actually don't come up in search results.
So one thing I'd love for you to talk about is the whole thing with the automated requests and how you try to send them back the message.
Oh, do you want to see one from today?
Absolutely, would love to see one.
So what Kenneth is referring to is there's such an increase right now on the platform. There's so many more people using it. There's a lot of people trying to sell through this platform right now. And I've got a bunch of them in here. So whenever I see something that looks automated, if it looks automated, it smells automated, it's automated. I mean, this guy is a lead generation expert, and I'm using air quotes intentionally. I help coaches generate leads using Instagram and LinkedIn. Really? All right, so let's play, shall we? Hey, Brenda, I see that you're an expert and I'd love to have you in my network. Now, take out my name. This has nothing to do with me. He probably sent this message out to 300 people. This is not personalized in here. So I reply back with tests. That's all I do lately. I just reply back with tests. And usually they don't reply back. There was one person who, did I save it? I want to show it to you guys because it was so good. I'm going to use it for my post tomorrow. Let me just find it in my desktop real quick, and then I'll pull it up on screen. It was that good. Okay, here it is. I was actually like laughing at myself. I was so proud of my response on this one, Kenneth. So let me just do a screen share, and then I will navigate to the picture. And you guys don't reach out to her and tell her, because I'm going to black out her name when I do this tomorrow. So Crystal Woods is a growth advisor, and she starts with the automated pitch. Hi, Brenda. I'm not affiliated with a digital marketing agency, but I do help coaches and consultants create and launch online courses, memberships, coaching programs. Would love to have you in my network so we can learn more about each other's business. Thanks. I replied back with test. Okay. Because this is the bots don't know how to respond to it. I replied back with test. And she said, how are you? Any new plans? And any new plans are goals for 2021? And I replied back with screening out bots, you. So, I mean, I'm not a fan of the bots, and I'm not trying to like pick on her. I'm just trying to illustrate the fact that so many people are using these. If you are sending out invitations, just make sure they're personalized. And the good way of saying, is it personalized? If I take out the first name, if I say, Dear Carrie, could I send the same note to Marty? And then if so, that's not personalized. I mean, you guys can tell when it's not personalized. And we can tell when they're templated and people are trying to butter you up on stuff like that. So
it's funny, because I actually did a post on that. One of my connections did a hi, and then it's brackets first name, brackets last name. It was actually went through on the post. Yes. So my question was, do I respond back to this person? Do I let it go, or what do I do?
You know, you got to kind of look at, and my big belief is energy moves in one direction. Okay. So I can either focus my energy on supporting my business, supporting people who deserve that support, or I can let that negative energy pull me back, and I try to like make a point and put people in their place and let people know that I'm offended or whatever. I'm not going to do that. I'm actually trying to use this technique to screen in real people, because I do get people replying back saying, what do you mean by test? And then I'm like, oh, real person alert. Then I can start talking, and I can say, I use this technique to screen in and create good conversations with people and screen out bots. And then we start talking, and that's the goal, to get people talking. That's why I'm doing this. So I always think about, in those instances, you might feel good, but it's kind of like eating junk food. You're going to feel good when you're doing it. And then later on, you're being like, oh, that really wasn't on brand for me. I mean, that's not who I am. I'm not a negative person. I didn't really, I spend a lot of time and energy on that I could have been spending on building my business and doing other things. So that's my take on it.
Pat wanted you to talk about Shield and what Shield, and just explain a little bit what Shield is.
So Shield Analytics, and I'm not going to pull it up right now because it takes too long for it to load, but Shield Analytics is a external program which allows you to get additional data on your LinkedIn profile. And I don't recommend it for the average person. It's not super expensive. I think it's like $100 or so per year for the Shield subscription. But if you are a heavy user of LinkedIn and you're really focused on digital media, it might be worth the investment. I am going to share with you guys, if anyone's interested in checking it out, I've got a web page, and I put, anytime I get like partner offers or discount codes or anything like that, I put them on my webpage. I created it's just special offers from Meller Marketing. So Shield Intelligence is one of them. If you do want to use it, you'll get a 10% off if you sign up using my code. So basically, it creates a place where you can have all of your analytics in one place for your posting activity, for your network growth, for your number of connections. And it's kind of like creating an Excel spreadsheet that you can quickly access, and you can start to kind of look through and get a quick at a glance of everything. So that's the best way I like to explain it. I mean, they say it's LinkedIn analytics without spreadsheets. They do the work for you, and you can look back historically until the time, I think they start collecting data at the time that you subscribe to Shield. So I've had it since May of, I think 2018 or maybe May of 2019. So I've got a couple years of data that you can use on there. But it is something I wouldn't recommend you're investing in that unless you're a heavy user of LinkedIn or you're really focused on digital marketing. Pat, is that enough of an explanation? Does that answer your question?
Pat?
Pat, are you there?
It's hi. Yeah, it does. Wait, can you hear me?
I can. Yeah. How are you?
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Good. Cheerleading from the side. Is it compliant with LinkedIn terms?
It is,
Or-
because Shield Analytics is not sending out automated invitations. Shield Analytics is accessing your account on your behalf and pulling information in that's just reporting on your own analytics. The difference is, and there's a lot of like automation tools out there, and if people reach out to you guys and say, hey, I've got a tool that can send out automated invitations and grow your network by thousands of people a day, run for the hills, because this will get your account locked up. You'll get thrown in LinkedIn jail. And if you keep doing it, you're not going to be able to send out invitations anymore. But Shield is not anything. There's a lot of LinkedIn trainers and coaches who use Shield because it's not doing anything that is against the terms of service on LinkedIn. Whereas the other LinkedIn helpers and Duck Soup, and there's a handful of them that are out there, they are automating activities that you should be doing as a human being. This is not doing that. This is just helping me with analytics on the back end.
Okay, thank you. Will you
Well-
also speak to organization of your leads? So I pay for Sales Navigator, but I still feel
Well,
like it's clunky
Let
and
me
not
first stop, Pat.
organized.
What is the difference between Sales Navigator, Basic, and Premium? Because not everyone may understand that.
Well, yeah, I don't know if there is much other than I
Well,
think
I
Sales
was asking
Navigators.
Brenda, like a lot of
Oh,
people
go ahead, yeah.
ask,
Sales
Yeah.
Navigator
should someone
and
get
Premium.
Premium versus Basic? What's
So-
the
Okay, so I do not work for LinkedIn. I do not make any money on LinkedIn. I do not like to see people wasting money on LinkedIn. I have been a LinkedIn Premium user for many, many years. It is worth the investment for me. I upgraded to Sales Navigator probably 6 or 9 months ago, and I dabble in it, and I really don't need it for the purposes of what I'm doing on LinkedIn, but I do have it because every once in a while I get a client asking me a question about Sales Navigator, and I know LinkedIn enough that I can go into Sales Navigator and find the answer for them if it does exist. So what I will say on the whole is that you can use LinkedIn, the free version, and everything I've been showing you guys and all the things I teach people is based on using the free basic version of LinkedIn. So premium does not mean better. Okay, so repeat that to yourself. If you're thinking about upgrading, you're like, oh, I can get more. Premium does not mean better. Premium means you're paying for additional features on LinkedIn. So if you want to upgrade to premium, I usually tell people you should have 3 things kind of done first. 1, your profile should be optimized. That means you've gone through your profile from top to bottom. Everything is written for your ideal target audience. It's accurate. It's up to date. The links work. You're comfortable with it. It's working. The second thing is you should be sending out personalized invitations. I've demonstrated that tonight. The third is you should be posting regularly on LinkedIn and also engaging with other people. If you are doing all of those 3 things and then you want premium, and usually the first thing that you need access to is seeing everybody who's looked at your profile because there could be leads there. The other thing is unlimited searches, and then you get LinkedIn Learning as another bonus as well. If that is worth $60 a month to you, month after month after month, then go for it and pay for it. But don't spend money on premium because you think it's better. It's just you're paying for additional features. Sales Navigator is a separate site altogether. It's kind of like LinkedIn Premium with a premium level on top of it. And I could probably do a whole other session on Sales Navigator, but there are other experts on LinkedIn who are more of an expert in Sales Navigator than I am. My advice for you would actually be post on LinkedIn and say, I have Sales Navigator and I'm trying to get better access to some of the features. What are the best features? If you use Sales Navigator, what are the best features you like? Just post it on LinkedIn and you'll get people replying back to you. Kenneth and I will see it. We'll add a little comment here and there. And let other people help you to understand that. They might point you to other experts that have blogs or webinars or resources or things like that. Okay.
Yeah, that's great. I think the other thing that people always ask about too is, what is an SSI? Do I care about an SSI?
So LinkedIn has this magical number. It's called the SSI, which is in SSI stands for Social Selling Index. Sorry, I'm trying to talk and navigate at the same time, and I'm doing neither of them very well. So you can go to a place within LinkedIn and look it up. I created a web page, and I'll put it in chat right now, which explains in Brenda Meller terms what is your SSI, what does the score mean, and basically everybody on LinkedIn. Why is it not letting me go into chat right now? Oh, here it goes. Okay, trying to put this into chat and it keeps navigating out. So basically, everybody on LinkedIn is given a score, and an index means it goes from 0 to 100. So if you have a score of 50 for your SSI, that's average. It's kind of like when I go to the pediatrician and they say your child is in the 50th percentile for height and weight. That means they're average compared to every other child on the earth, right? So 50 is average, 0 is low, 100 is high. And if you go to this web page, you click on, and I just explain it, measures your ability to sell in LinkedIn according to the magical formula. And you can click on see your SSI. This takes you to this page where you can see the link. It's kind of hard to type that all in. And then when you're here, you click on get your score free. And as long as you're logged in, it's automatically going to create the score for you. You do not have to have Sales Navigator to access this. And they basically break it down into 4 categories: establishing your professional brand, finding the right people, engaging with insights, or building relationships. And you can get up to 25 points per category based on your activities. I'm usually between an 83 and an 88, depending on my activities on the platform. It's a good benchmark, but it's not the be all end all. I mean, ultimately it's, are you achieving your goals on LinkedIn? But if you are using LinkedIn for business development, for lead generation, it's a good way of figuring out where are there gaps in your activity that can help you to get there faster. Does that help?
Thanks. Yeah, it does.
Okay. All right, so here's the deal, Kenneth. It's 7:43.
No, I know. I wanted to be respectful of your time for sure.
So what I can do though is I can go get in the car and just be on audio. I'm just not gonna be able to navigate anything. So I need like 5 minutes to get myself set up and on the road, and I can join back in on audio if that would be okay. And I'm just gonna stop the screen share right now.
Sure. Is that okay with everyone else? Yeah.
It has to be. You guys have no choices.
They're stuck with me then.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to leave, but I'll come back in 5 minutes. And
sure.
I guess this will be like the dance party, dance off competition part, Kenneth, or what's happening now?
Yeah. Well, what we'll do is, I mean, we could have I mean, I can answer some questions and like for now, for sure. Or have anyone have any other thoughts? Go for it. I mean, I wanted to bring Brenda on because Brenda has a different type of insight than I do. So when you see her on LinkedIn, I mean, she's rapid fire. She totally gets it all. A little bit of a difference from me, and that's what makes us all so great. So if anyone has any thoughts, unmute yourself, talk, chat. Nancy, you're nodding your head a lot. I always pick on you, of course, but.
No, I was kind of agreeing with how you said, Brenda, you know, it was rapid fire. I'm amazed by that.
Well, it's because that's what, you know, she's on all day doing stuff all the time. I mean, and that's one of those things. It's funny because she, Alice couldn't even keep up with her.
Yeah, very quick.
All right, any other thoughts?
Okay.
You guys are quiet all of a sudden. Did Brenda kind of
Can I have a question about SSI? So sure. I've been kind of stuck at the same number since like last summer, and I'm wondering what can I do to increase my insightful comments and things? Because I think insight was one area where I can improve, and I forget what the other area was, but that was the big one.
Who was that was speaking?
It's Michelle.
Oh, hi. I think one of the things about SSI is that if you have Sales Navigator, it's an added bonus into your score. Besides anything else, most people that don't have it, like myself, are never going to get past 85. So what I always do is I always look at the parts there and see where I rank within the percentage of the people in my category, because it'll say you're in the top 3% of this or the 5% of that.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of it, honestly, because we don't really know how it's comprised. None of us do.
Gotcha. Okay. So guess it's not that important.
Well, not in the scheme of things. It's not. I mean, it's not like something you're going to put on your resume or anything like that.
No, but does it help in your SEO and your visibility?
No, not really.
Okay.
Think about it from this perspective. Your LinkedIn profile, when you Google your name, it's going to be the first thing that's going to show up, and anything you do on LinkedIn is going to show up also when you do a search, which is another reason why you should be posting things. I mean, there's a lot of great tools on LinkedIn, and I think one of the things that's very important is listening, not just to myself or to Brenda, but just listening to a bunch of us, because we all come from different places. You know, I come from a different place than Brenda, and others on the call come from different places, and there's no one right or wrong way to do this. You know, there is no secret sauce that you only do it one way. We all come from our experiences as to what works and what doesn't work. And if you've done something that's beneficial, you want to share it, share it, because I did something today for the first time. I'd never done it before. I created a poll, and then I put that link to a poll into someone else's feed, and so they could comment on it, they could expand on it. I mean, this is a toy that we all used to play with, for sure.
I think I look more at the number of profile views I have more than the SSI index. Like I've noticed when I'm more busy in a week and maybe I don't post as often or I don't comment as often, I'll have fewer views, where I definitely have more views of my profile when I'm actually doing my own posts and commenting more on other people's posts.
So let me ask you
And
this.
also within that, I look at what percentage of those profile views are recruiters.
So when someone views your profile, do you reply back to them with something?
It depends.
Non-stalky?
It depends on who it is. If it's somebody that I have connections with or that I feel like is potentially in my industry, then I might. And if it's some random person, then not always, no.
The other thing which I do a lot of now is I report and block a lot of people that just send out these generic, hi, how are you things. I mean, unfortunately, it's like a whack-a-mole on LinkedIn. You know, we all kind of joke about it. It's a whack-a-mole. You knock out one, another one comes up. So the only way you can go, like Brenda has her thing where she does tests. I have my thing where I sometimes just reply back with the same type of message to them. But it's the only reason I do it is for educational and for training purposes, because whoever's on the other end is not going to really see a big difference. And I hate the ones that I get every week. Just checking one more time. Just checking one more time for the 4th or 5th time. Really. Go ahead.
Ken, it's
Sure.
Marty.
Hi.
What is your take on the event invites? There seems to be a rash of them lately. The event invite I get from you is a high priority for me, but has LinkedIn changed something where everyone's doing event invites? And what's the good strategy if you are having?
I think more and more people are using events now that it's out there. My opinion is this: you can do a search for events the way you search for people and for companies, and you can find relevant events. What's starting to happen now is a lot of people are putting a link, if they're on Clubhouse, in the event on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn has no official way to link Clubhouse and LinkedIn together. But my thing about events is, it's like anything else on LinkedIn. You can say you're coming to an event, but you don't have to show up. So it's very hard to actually, to keep in context how many people are going to be attending. I look at it as more of a marketing tool for myself, honestly, to get the exposure. But I'd be curious if other people have different thoughts.
But if you get a lot of invites and do you just let them go and don't acknowledge them, since 90% of them you're not going to be interested in, or do you actually click ignore?
I just ignore a lot of them when I get them in the feed, because I get events every day, and I get the same one who's sending me a new event every week, and I don't want to go to it. Okay. And I just delete it.
I set up an event a couple of times on LinkedIn for my alumni association, and we don't actually do registration through LinkedIn, but what I can do is I can use that as a gauge to see who might be interested. Then if I see they didn't register for the event, then I'll contact them and say, hey, did you know you have to register over there? Or did you know the event's coming up? I saw you were interested. But it is very time consuming. It's a one-on-one kind of thing.
And then if you have create an event perhaps on a company page and you have a website with terms and conditions, you can download the connections who said they're coming, and if they give you permission, you can have them added to your list. But again, from the amount of time I use LinkedIn, not as much for events, but to find people and engage in content. And I know Brenda is back. She's on the phone. So Brenda, did you want us to field questions for you, or how did you want to handle it?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, Kenneth, and I apologize, I'm jumping off and on back in, but can you hear me okay right now?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Yeah, and on the events front too, I would just recommend anybody who's doing events, whether it's an Eventbrite or from I heard she say from her website, still put it on LinkedIn as an event, because you'll reach people who are on that platform that aren't going to read your email newsletter. No offense to people who write email newsletters. They're not going to read it. And the people who aren't on Facebook, or they're not looking at your college website, you're still going to reach people, and then you can invite people who you know that will attend, and when they accept it as an event, it pops it up into the timeline, which helps to broadcast it to more people. So still use it, even if you're not collecting those registrations there.
Definitely. Thank you. Anyone else?
I think you're saying, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, how do you search for events on LinkedIn? Now I'm feeling fairly stupid now, but.
Well, when you go to the top, you can search for, let's say there's a type of event you want, like job search or unemployment or recruiting. If you type those keywords in, then you'll get a drop down where you can select events from that. Just like you can select groups or people.
I really feel stupid now. Thank you.
No, don't feel stupid.
This is all learning, right? I appreciate that you asked that question, and that you admitted, you're like, I feel silly asking this. I'm not going to use stupid because there's no stupid questions.
Yeah, I should have said silly, but thank you.
There's only silly people who don't ask questions that they have them. I mean, you guys, this is your chance. If you have any questions, somebody else in the room has the same question as you. So don't feel bad. Don't feel silly. Just say, hey, I've wondered. Or you could even say, I know I have a friend who was asking me about this, and you could put it on your friend, right?
So I'm Jay Alexander. Hi, everybody. And
Hi.
I actually watch this stuff. I live in Texas, and my whole goal is to train the upcoming healthcare administration from the colleges on how to be professional and worked on a LinkedIn platform. So I've already got my stuff ready to roll. I'm just getting these last minute tips so that when I continue to teach, right, these people that are coming in, these new leaders, how to navigate, they're asking the exact same questions. So I think this is a great platform.
That's awesome. Are you doing any upcoming events, like webinars or anything, to launch what you're doing?
I am actually doing one for the college. So I have an LLC that will start on my birthday Friday. So I'm going to be 50. Let's do a little disclosure here, right? Next chapter. So I've got a PowerPoint. I'm also involved in a lot of our healthcare executive committees, like healthcare informatics, financial, and also the American College of Healthcare Executives, because I see a need for leadership. And so I'm trying to get this next level to get ready to get out there and get what it needs. But I find myself doing career transition people as well. So this is a great platform to teach. Everybody has great questions.
Do you have any questions for us?
Oh, I'll ask you offline. We're already connected, and I've already posted this event on LinkedIn.
Oh, wonderful. Good job.
Yeah.
Hey, Ken, I had a comment if I can share.
Sure. Go ahead, Pat.
One of the reasons I think the events are populating so much is because Clubhouse allows you to create a link, and you can post an event on LinkedIn and invite people, and they can click on it and go over to the Clubhouse room. And I feel like that's what I'm doing anyway. You can do that. And we also were practicing. I don't remember if you were in the room the night, but one of the sessions we had some of us folks in LinkedIn on the chat, and because there is no chat in Clubhouse, right? So we were on the chat in the LinkedIn room for the event. I thought that became a bit overwhelming personally, but I feel like that's one of the reasons you're seeing many more event invitations is because the Clubhouse rooms are allowed. LinkedIn is allowing that.
Does everyone know what Clubhouse is? I mean, I'm just gonna make
No, that was my next question. What's Clubhouse, people? Is that like Parlor versus Facebook?
No, no. Clubhouse is Brenda Meller approved. I am not a parlor anti-freedom of speech, whatever. To each his own. But I was like a resistor. I was like, I don't have more time in the day for this Clubhouse nonsense. And Kenneth invited me a couple times, and I kept saying, "Don't waste your invites on me, Kenneth. I won't use them." And now I'm like, what, 8 days in, and I'm like totally converted.
You lost your hat.
I did. I lost my hat. So you want to tell people what the hat means and what the site is all about?
You can, Brenda. You know, go ahead.
So my impression is, or the way I explain it is, Clubhouse is a social media community where it's kind of like a live podcast. It's only voice. The only thing visually that we see is your profile photo. So we don't see any videos that are displaying, but we can have people that are hosting the room. Those are the speakers. And then there are listeners. So you can just go in and listen to a session, listen to a discussion. If you're like me, if you go into one of Kenneth's sessions and he knows you, he's going to tap you to be a speaker, and he pulls you up into the speaker area and he'll say, "Hey, Brenda, how's your day going? What do you want to talk about?" But you can just listen in. So I kind of use it as it's a live podcast place. It's a place for me to gain information about marketing, entrepreneurship, LinkedIn, and to reach. And then what I do is I look at their bio on Clubhouse, and I usually will click on and go over to their LinkedIn profile where I connect with them, and then I do business with them, or at least get the conversation started in that direction. So that's how I describe it. I don't know, Kenneth, what would you add?
See, for me, as an introvert, and people here know that I'm an introvert, especially, I was on Clubhouse for a week, and I had no idea what it was, and I was scared to death. So I actually got nudged into a room for the first time, and I got pushed up to the stage, and I didn't know what to do. And I thought, oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world. But then little by little, I got a little more comfortable. And then the next thing you know, I got made a moderator, and I'm like, oh my God, I have all this, what am I gonna do? I got so freaked out. But then after a while, you get better at it. The challenge is, it's a time train. When I started getting on Clubhouse, I was on all day, and everything else took a back seat. I don't know about you, Brenda, but I'm there, it's in the background, and I have to be there for this thing and that thing, and you know, it's maddening. But now I've gotten to the place where I know exactly where I want to go and exactly what I want to do. But if you can get to Clubhouse, it's great now because they have job search groups now. They have recruiting groups because now people are taking it there. And I actually put my Clubhouse handle on my LinkedIn profile now. That's the latest thing. Did you do that, Brenda?
I have not done that. And going back to the time suck point, I think with every social network, you got to figure out how much time you're going to spend on it. And then you have to leave when you need to leave, and you need to censor, and you need to be in control of your time management. So for me, I'm still new. I think 8 days in, and I'm learning, but Kenneth will ping me with events. And if it's interesting, I'll attend it if I'm available. Otherwise, I just ignore it. And then as I'm in there, I'm connecting with other people that are helping to guide me around and using the platform. I'm not going to let it be, 5 hours a day, but I do listen to Clubhouse in the morning when I'm making my coffee and breakfast. So it's like a live podcast. Like, think about how you use podcasts. That's how I use Clubhouse. I go in when I have the time, and I've set up a couple events just to kind of understand that side of it. But you don't need to. You can just go in and listen and not participate more actively than that.
Kenneth,
my
it's Lisa.
Favorite one is, go ahead,
sorry.
Lisa.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I was going to say the one thing that's kind of cool is it's also not recorded. You can't record a Clubhouse chat. So even if you say something really dumb, nobody's going to have evidence of it.
It's like a Snapchat version of radio.
So that could maybe take away someone's anxiety about speaking.
I know what I did is the first couple of times I was on a Sunday night call, and it was run by people from Australia. And I thought that was the coolest thing, because the challenge there is we're all in all different time zones, but the people you're getting a chance to meet and even listening to their voices it's such a big difference than just reaching out to someone on LinkedIn or email, because you can put a voice to the name and to the person.
I think it's cool because I don't go on it very much, in full disclosure, but I find you can get access to people that you would normally not ever get in a room with, you know.
The other thing that's great about it is that, this is Joey, by the way, sorry guys.
Hi, Joey.
The other great thing about Clubhouse, and I can only speak from my experience, all the rooms I've been in so far, there hasn't been one derogatory, negative, belittling person. Everybody's been upbeat, positive, kind, love-heartingly. It's just been a pleasant escape from all the negativism that you can find on the news, on Facebook, even on LinkedIn, right? People providing their political views, people providing any views that are just adversarial. I find none of that in Clubhouse. Now, you could find those rooms in Clubhouse if you want to go there. I don't want to go there, so I avoid them. And so every conversation I've been a part of or have heard in any room on Clubhouse has always been upbeat and positive.
Well, today there was a thing on Clubhouse when the Golden Globes came out. There was a Golden Globe venting room actually on Clubhouse, questioning the choices.
Right. Hey, Brenda, I have a friend of mine who has a question. Wink, wink.
Does your friend have a silly question that you'd like to ask, Joey?
He was embarrassed, so I told him I'd ask it on his behalf.
Oh, see,
Actually,
that's so nice of you. Yeah.
Her behalf.
Oh, okay, her. Yeah, now it's a her. Okay, go ahead.
She wants to know, in your experience with LinkedIn, are you noticing a trend or anything that mature workers are using to help them stand out or get a leg up, if you will, on the competition on LinkedIn? Is there anything they can do or are doing? Have you noticed?
That whole session that Kenneth did on job search for mature workers, I would highly recommend you watch that entire session. There were so many great nuggets of information in there. I would say, and I want to just share with you an analogy. So let's say, Joey, if I come up to you and I hold up a bowl of something to you and I say, can you smell this? Does this milk smell sour? And you hold it up and you're already cringing your nose even before sniffing it because you're expecting it to smell sour. And then what if in the same room, I pick up a different bowl and I pick up the bowl and I say, Joey, smell this yogurt. Doesn't this smell amazing? And now you're bringing your nose, and they're both sour milk, right? It's just the way that we position how we're saying it. So one thing I would say is take your work experience and position that as a strength. You are experienced, your friend is experience rich. This is something you should use in your about statement. And if you feel that there may be some concerns or this person may have some concerns with perception, make sure that you're positioning it in your about statement that says kind of where you're at in your career, the experience that you could bring into a new position. And I would kind of put it out there. I know what I want to do. I have experience working with teams, managing people, managing my own time. I'm going to be a responsible worker. I mean, whatever you want to do, but it's the whole, positioning yourself. Personally, I feel like if you're worried about that, let's make sure we weave something into your about statement that addresses something that may be of concern. Kind of, since you did a whole panel on that, do you have anything? I mean, I don't feel like this is my niche of expertise.
Well,
that's just my point of view.
There's two things that I always say. I always say, position yourself as a mentor, that you can share your skills and your background because you've done things that a lot of people now haven't done before. And then the other thing is I say, look, there's a perception that young people are the enemy and all that, but they're having struggles just like older people are, because they don't get the experience. They're young, but they don't have the experience. When you're old, you have the experience, but you're too old. And there's a lot of synergy between the two. So you're going to be your own worst enemy when you're older. And I think that people are their own worst enemy in general. You have the skills, and don't shoot yourself in the foot about, oh my God, they're going to ask me to take a pay cut, or they're not going to be able to afford me. What's the worst thing that can happen? And if it doesn't work out as a company, then you don't want to work for them, because you're interviewing them too. So that's kind of my take, Brenda.
Do you mind if I share something?
Sure, Lisa, go ahead.
I run a job search consultancy where we work with a lot of senior level professionals, executives, basically people over 40, 50 years old. And I myself am 50. And, you know, obviously ageism exists. I'm not one of these people who thinks it doesn't exist. It absolutely wholeheartedly exists, and it's wrong. But the good news is I find that what a lot of times gets labeled as ageism, and I'm sorry for being on the phone, my computer wasn't working tonight, so sorry for the very close in your face moment. What I find that gets labeled as ageism is often not coming across modern or contemporary and simply even being outdated, right? And the good news is we can fix that, right? We can fix outdated. And, you know, a lot of what was shared today it helps you be modern. You know, a lot what Ken shared in his presentation for senior level workers helps us look modern on LinkedIn. And when you look modern on any of these platforms, the age isn't so much an issue. You know, I would not lead with things like, you know, seasoned executive with 25 years of experience. It's like that to me is leading with the chin, you know, so I would not lead with seniority if you don't want age to be a subliminal or overt factor in your candidacy, right? Which should not be there. It should not be considered, but you know, recruiters are human too. And if it's subliminally led with, it's automatically digested. So lead with merit. Merit is ageless. Lead with achievements, lead with your wins, lead with your successes. And when you lead with that in your summary and you have a modern tagline, you know, then it becomes less of an issue because again, merit is ageless. And the only other suggestion I would make is something that Ken alluded to just a minute ago is sorry, my battery all of a sudden is dead and is dying. I have to put my charger in. But, you know, I try to think back when I was like 27, 30, 35 years old, and I was hiring people and often hiring people that were older than me when they had more experience than me, even though I know I was really good at what I did, I was inherently intimidated sometimes. And some days I was even worried about my job. So, you know, and I think about, I'll ask clients when they're saying it's ageism. I'm like, okay, just take a minute. When you were 35 years old, how many people did you hire that were older than you? And they often stumble and can't give me an answer. You know, very few people when they were 35 who are now 55 hired many people that were older than them. So that's why they're fearful, because they know they did it. Like, not that they were committing ageism at 35, but they just inherently hired people they were more comfortable, which tended to be younger than them. So I was like, when you stop making it personal and realize they're just afraid. Now, what are they afraid of? They're afraid you're going to take over their job. They're afraid they're going to look like an idiot. They're afraid you're going to be a source of competition. And so I said, when you come across in a way that addresses what any subliminal fear you think they may, and you anticipate they may have, then it's like what you said, like that you're a mentor, that you're going to help and that sort of thing, then it becomes less of an issue. You know, we can fix a lot of this stuff. We can't fix how old we are, but we can totally fix how we come across. So it is more digestible to a hiring manager. That's just my 2 cents.
Thanks, everyone. And I'll make sure I'll tell my friend about all this great stuff that you shared with me. Thank you.
But I think a lot of it is perception, because, you know, when we all started out with whatever we were doing, we were on the other side. And right. It's no different now. You know, when I started out, I was hopping from job to job because I wanted to make more money. I wanted to do that. I had no sense of stability and I didn't care. Now that I'm older, I look back at my younger self and wonder what I was thinking so much. But you have to embrace who you are. I mean, I'm going to be the first person that's going to say, I don't know the answer to something. There's a whole thing called imposter syndrome. We were brought up, if we didn't know the answer, we'd say we knew the answer anyway. You know, just because we're afraid to admit we didn't know the answer. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I need help or I don't know the answer. In fact, that's a strength in some cases when you admit that.
Actually, I just have one more point that you just triggered in my brain. I often will say to clients, look at your network. How many people in your network are, you know, under 40 or 35 and under? and that aren't your kids' friends, and if they are, that's fine too. But I mean, just genuinely your friend, right? And there's nothing wrong with if you have people in your network that are your kids' friends. That's still your network. That's great. But given that whole idea that people hire who they know, right? And they, most hires happen through employee referrals, social media connections, personal contacts. And if you have very few people that are of a younger generation in your network, well, of course you're gonna feel like you're on the outs. So like I purposefully reach out to people at all different age groups. A year and a half ago, pre-COVID, I went to an entrepreneurs group that was 15 people, and it was led by a 29-year-old, and I was by far the oldest person in the room by like a good 10 years. And and I was fine. I felt comfortable. And it was mostly men too, to boot. So like I had both things going against me, right? And but I expanded my network that day. I did not go because they didn't look like me or at my level of experience or, age level or whatever. I just said, I got to learn something from here. And they learned from me that weekend, and it was great. So, put yourself in uncomfortable situations. And I say that with safety all being the priority, obviously. And if everyone looks different than you in the group that you're in, you're probably doing it right. And, so if you're feeling that you're not getting tapped by younger people, I would say look at your network and then try to make your adjustments from there too.
Anyone else want to chime in?
Yeah, I think getting involved in professional organizations, no matter what that organization is, healthcare, human resources, or whatever, those are a great platform to link us with the younger generation and also the older generation, because everybody's got something to bring to the table. I know that I started out with the American College of Healthcare Executives as just on their committee member. A year later, I was a volunteer of the year, and a year later, I was on the board. So I made bigger jumps in my volunteer life than I did in my work life, and was able to connect a bunch of people. And it was very valuable. I think there's a lot of great organizations or foundations, any opportunity that you can to volunteer. Giving back is fantastic. And it's very rewarding, and you get to meet people along the way. And so that's just my 2 cents. And thanks.
I feel badly for the college graduates coming out now with the job market.
Yeah, they're really lost.
I mean, so as much as we want to complain about our situation, there are no jobs out there. And they also don't really know a lot about networking. So to be empathetic, I mean, that's one of the reasons why why I do the work at William Patterson for the Institute as a mentor, because it also helps me understand what's going on out there. And anyone who's in transition, William Patterson is always looking for mentors. And it's a great way to network with other people too.
No, it's funny. My older two graduated, and one graduated with a BSN, and she got a job in nursing. The other one graduated with a degree in MIS with a minor in criminal justice, and got picked up as a policeman, and has been working, is part of a police force. Number 3 is going to graduate with a master's in social work. Pray for her. And number 4 is going to finish cosmetology school by the end of by November of this year. So she'll be gainfully employed, hopefully. But they're coming out, almost like with a trade. And I feel like these kids need to really learn a trade. It's like, go back to your basics: carpenter, plumbing, electrician. I mean, those are the people that are really needed now. I wish, I would have. My younger one, this is her way of going back into being a tradesman. This is what she wanted to do. But anyway, that's my 2 cents.
All right, if no one has anything else, Brenda, I don't know if you're still driving or not, or whatever,
I am. I have my son in the car, and he's been listening to everybody. And
so what does your son have to think? What does your son have to think about? Because I think your son is a teenager.
He is. He's 16. Yeah. We just picked him up from driver's ed, and he drove for the first time the other day, and he's going out again on Saturday. So yeah, he's just. We were just having conversations about what we're talking about, and yeah.
Good stuff.
Good.
Yeah.
What field is our 16-year-old friend coming into, so we know how to mentor him?
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to start a business.
Okay, but you gotta like where? Healthcare, industry.
Oh man, I don't know. I honestly don't know. There's a lot of ideas in my mind, but I can't really pinpoint one.
So you're interested in the stock market right now?
Yes, I'm getting into the stock market a bit. I've been doing a couple trades. I've been in cryptocurrency a little bit, starting it young.
Financial copywriting. You'll make a mint.
Yeah. If there's anybody in the Zoom tonight who has a background in or works in the financial area, financial services or anything, investments or anything like that, that would entertain a conversation with a 16-year-old sometime, a Zoom call, I'll join it with you.
Right,
Let me know, because he's definitely, this is something he's interested in at this point. We'll see where it goes, right?
Yeah.
So
never know.
Yeah.
No,
I can talk to him.
but it's great to get. Go ahead. Shelley?
I can talk to him if you want. I used to run the analyst programs at Citi for years.
Oh, cool. Do you want to like connect offline?
I will.
And follow up. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
That's what networking is all about, though. I mean,
that's how it's done.
Exactly, Joey.
That's how
Joey,
it's
I was
done.
telling
You don't
Joshua
know
about
from where, you don't know who,
Joey,
you don't know
Joey.
when.
Sorry, we're talking over each other. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Ladies first.
I was just telling Josh the story, Joey, of how you had a friend who had a question and how you were so kind to ask the question on her behalf. Because she felt silly asking it. And I was saying how kind that was of you. Do you guys want to know what my son just did? I just picked him up from driver's ed and he wasn't out yet. And I said, where are you? And he said, I'm still inside here because there's a girl who was in his class that was in there with the instructor. It's a male instructor. And he didn't want to leave her in there. And the instructor's really nice. He's not worried anything's going to happen, but he just thought the girl might feel weird being in the room with a grown-up man without anybody else in the room. So he wanted to wait until her ride got there. I am so proud of him right now.
Okay, Joey, I'm hearing a compliance guy. You sound like a compliance guy. Sexual harassment. You got a lot of room to grow here, buddy. A lot of room.
I raised 2 teenage boys who are now into their 20s. I'm proud to hear that your son did that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud also.
Thank you.
Well, Kenneth, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun and look forward to connecting with you guys on LinkedIn. I have a follow button as my default. So if you guys want to connect with me, go to my profile and click on the more button. And then you'll see an option that will say personalize invite or connect. Just mention tonight's session and I would be happy to accept your invitation.
Thank you very much, Brenda, for everything. I know there's a bit of a challenge today dealing with all that stuff, but I really appreciate you coming in.
My pleasure. I'll see you on Clubhouse, I'm sure, at some point tomorrow, Kenneth.
Yep, you got it. Have a great night, everyone. See you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. And I saved the chat. Don't worry, and we'll get it out there.